am the Fist of the North Star. Show me the power. Prove that I'm right.
Fist of the North Star. This is one of the most successful anime of all time. Hell, you can even call it one of the greatest selling media franchises of all time. I mean, selling over 100 million units by the year 2006. That is no small feat. That is massive, especially back in the time when anime was a much more lighter subject, especially here in the United States. I mean, just think about it. This movie went on to be one of the most biggest selling media franchises of all time, meaning that it's competing with massive blockbuster movies and beating them. So I mean that the show has a huge fan base surrounding it, and about any other anime fan you generally run into, most of them, if they've seen it, which they, why have you not seen it, will immediately say that they love the series, or at least they have some type of liking to it. And even though back then, and even though the show came out back in the old but golden years of anime in 1986, it should still be obvious that the show has been a huge catalyst in inspiring some of the greatest anime series and video game series of our modern time. First things first, this is a film about men, and I mean massive men. I mean jacked men who beat the ever living shit out of each other through gut tearing martial arts combat. And also, there's what was that?
おっと丈太郎くんレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレ
Oh my. Was that a freaking JoJo reference? Oh god, I know where this is going. Alright, so I managed to dial down whatever the hell that was. I am sorry for the inconvenience. That I cannot guarantee that that will not happen again later. In fact, it's probably imminent. Anyways, the 80s was the time for action. I mean, think about it. This was back when we had the movies playing like Rambo. We had Rocky 3, Conan, and Terminator.
You forgot to say please.
All these were playing on the big screen, and they were, for the short of the word, it was absolutely huge. I mean, anyone and their freaking mom knows about these movies, and all of which involved huge, manly, badass dudes who were jacked and completely full of pure 80s nostalgia. Like, if these movies came out today, they'd be tomatoes thrown at them because they easily are just like, they would be called like, I don't know, fad chasers or something. It just doesn't live up to what it was back then. And first and foremost, this fad wasn't just an American thing. Nah. It was an entertainment standard period back then. I mean, which brings into this iconic style of both the anime and the manga to the spotlight. I mean, this whole style just, it just screams just that old classic 80s vibe. So Fist of the North Star is about the epic tale of Kenshiro, a martial arts fighter living in a brutal post-apocalyptic, basically Mad Max themed universe in which all hell has completely just broken loose. The styling alone is completely legendary in this manga. From the shading that's done to it with the darker scenes, and even just the general just atmosphere, is just, you don't really see much like it. Like I said before, it's a Mad Max kind of vibe in the atmosphere, but it's mixed in with this crazy Bruce Lee kind of style movie, like movie setting, and it works so great. It's heavily inspired by both of which, and it really shows off here. So, anyways, let's take away from what we know about the show and what we know from the styling and the looks of it, and let's bring into our first roundup. Oh dear God, it's coming back again, doesn't it?
違うな。取りつかれているのとはちょっと違うな。レロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロレロロレロレロレロ。
All right, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. I can act like I despise the memes, but in all honesty, JoJo is literally right there of being my favorite animes like ever. it's like side by side with, I don't know, something simple like Cowboy Bebop or Dragon Ball Z. But it's like the thing with JoJo and the Fist of the North Star is they both have this epic. If you were to take the first season, I know that the first season of JoJo is often seen kind of as a snoozed fest. A lot of JoJo fans, especially like early adopters who are just getting into it, the first season, a lot of people kind of like sleep through, but pay attention to the style of the characters. First and foremost, the main characters are they're kind of close in the resemblance with each other, but it's not as far as to say that it is a ripoff or anything blatant like that. But there is so much inspiration in just how the characters stand, their poses, their posture. I mean, without some of the um little bit more quirky poses that they make. I don't know where they got that from, but but I do have some evidence to be able to back some of this up. Hirohiko Araki himself even was kind enough to tell everybody about Fist of the North Star and JoJo's kind of mix up with each other. And he even said that he had to bring in the stands, which came in a little bit later into JoJo, was mainly there so they could separate Fist of the North Star and JoJo so they can become, well, more weirder and, well, I mean, bizarre and kind of tore away from Fist of the North Star so they won't be seen as the same. Because some of the episodes, you can really put them up together and be like, wow, um, if you lied to me and told me that was a JoJo character, I might actually believe you. So, tearing away from the JoJo conspiracies, we move on to a show that may or may not get a brick thrown through your window if you decide to like the new adaptation. You'll be praised if you like the 1980s edition. Um, that's okay. Uh, but if you talk about 2016 version, you are a heretic and you will be shunned. They will cast you out of the walls. Japan will decline you to be able to visit their country. It's you cannot do that. I'm sorry. I am talking about Berserk, by the way. So if you're going to take a look at the 1980s manga, especially this version, it's not hard to be able to tell that they share the same type of artistic vision. They all have that kind of same stance, the strong, badass 1980s vibe. And even the creator himself, Tetsuo Hirano, he went on to talk about how that not only was the look of many characters created based off of the style that Fist of the North Star had, it also played in with how they love death. Berserk is full of death, destruction, pain, hopelessness, and a lot of just grim, brutal stuff. And a lot of those grim, harsh scenes and just the harsh reality in the world was actually helped crafted with the motivation they saw in Fist of the North Star. So to end with a conspiracy theory that actually has a, I guess, resolve to it. The anime neckbeard weebs from Reddit have warred over this for centuries. And it is, I'm happy to say I finally have an answer for you. Dragon Ball Z. Now, first things first, this story may not have what you may be expecting in it. People have been fighting forever, thinking that Dragon Ball Z had to have something with Fist of North Star going for it, mainly with the fact that there was those big dudes beating the shit out of each other, that kind of aesthetic that people pinned it on that, maybe they may have some Fist of the North Star vibes going for it. Um, Actually, it's a little different than that. So recently there was an interview with Kazuhiko Torishima, who is the editor, or at least he was the editor, with Toriyama back when they were writing Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. He had a sit down with Hiroshi Matsuyama, and they conducted an interview with each other. If you don't know who Hiroshi Matsuyama is, by the way, he is the creator of of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and he also worked with the Naruto video game series, the Dot Hack series, and a bunch of other projects. Like, he's a huge Japanese game creator. But anyways, they sat down and they had a conversation. They ended up going in depth about how Fist of the North Star actually had something to do with the series. So during the interview, Kazuhiko ended up talking about how they were working with the story action and how they were crafting together better sequences for the story, etc., etc. Well, as they were talking about it, he brought up that he was influenced by Fifth of the North Star, except not really in the best of ways. But he basically said the Fist of the North Star was really boring to him. He didn't really have any real desire to it. And the only real reason he even was reading the manga in the first place was simply because that it was just really popular and he wanted to find out why it was so popular. He ended up taking the points in it that he saw were important and was able to cut down on Dragon Ball's story to make it to be more centered on just a few characters instead of just a ton of characters, which was beginning to become a problem for them at the studio. So, if you were to really put everything together, I guess you can say the Fist of the North Star ended up playing a big role in Dragon Ball because he himself actually went on to admit that if he did not go through it, there may have been a point where Dragon Ball was in a state of decline anyway, that it may have dwindled down to them changing something drastically, or the manga could have just ended. But yeah, I think I want to end up there of a good note, everybody. That is how Dragon Ball was at least somewhat influenced by Fist of the North Star, and how JoJo and Berserk all played in with their inspirations of the original manga. Thank you guys, everybody, for watching. This is my first time doing any content like this that's not video game related. It's definitely a change of pace, and it's my first time posting on this channel. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Make sure you guys like and that you subscribe. As always, guys, I'm Samurai Sakai. I will catch you guys in the next video.
Yeah.